I'm here today to ask every one of you and everyone in this Congress to stand with all of us to end gun violence and protect the lives of Americans. We are facing a crisis that is killing more Americans than war, a crisis that is now the #1 cause of death for our young people.
38 past the hour. New York City Mayor Eric Adams yesterday calling on Congress to pass new gun laws and ban assault weapons during his testimony before the House Oversight Committee. He told lawmakers, quote, "It was time to decide if we're going to be a nation of laws or a confederation of chaos." And Mayor Adams joins us now alongside Andre T. Mitchell, A.T. Mitchell, the newly appointed czar of the Mayor's Gun Violence Prevention Task Force. Also joining us for this discussion is the host of MSNBC's Politics Nation, president of the National Action Network, Reverend Al Sharpton.
Thank you all so much for being with us. Mr. Mayor, let's start with you. Yesterday, of course, a progressive DA recalled in San Francisco. A year ago, you got elected in another politically progressive bastion, New York City. I'm wondering, should New York's own DA and should other members of the city council who are standing in your way of getting tough on crime, should they take a message from that election?
I believe we all should. Something I think is taking place in America and in New York. You have the numerical minority that are on the far right trying to put guns in the hands of everyone. And then you have a small number that's on the far left that believes we should not hold people accountable after committing crimes. They are shooting at each other, and caught in the middle are the everyday New Yorkers and Americans that are tired of this overproliferation of guns, and we should all take heed of what happened in San Francisco. You saw the San Francisco residents saying, we don't want to live this way.
Mr. Mitchell, obviously, in the wake of shootings like the one we saw in Uvalde or the one we saw in Buffalo, the focus is on the semi-automatic rifle, on the AR-15. But as you and the mayor know all too well, most of the gun violence, most of the gun deaths in this country come through handguns. And that was a point the mayor was trying to make yesterday up on Capitol Hill. So what are some solutions to that problem? We're focused right now on the AR-15 and maybe raising the age. Some Democrats want to ban them altogether. What about handgun violence? What are solutions that you've found over your career work?
Well, what I've found over my career is that we pour more resources into those neighborhoods where those unfortunate guns have made their way. It's unfortunate that young people in communities across the country have more access to guns than they do jobs, opportunities. And so with resources, that seems to be the best approach to dealing with that issue.
And it's a holistic approach, and that is why Andre is playing such a major role. You know, he's always been my gun czar, but his official title as the co-chair of the task force is crucial. I've known AT for over 30-something years, almost close to 40 years. He has been in his work. And so the partnership of bringing government with a person who's on the ground to assure the proper alignment as we prevent crime and have intervention to deal with those dangerous individuals on our streets, which, mind you, is a small number of repeated offenders that we need to finally go after.
Mr. Mayor, following that up.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Rev.
Following that up, I think it's important to commend you for bringing ATN to this position. You and I, came along together for the last 35 years, including where we would go paint red X's on crack houses to show where they're selling crack. And there was always an element in the community that was noisy saying, don't help the cops. But we were also holding the cops accountable. AT comes out of that community. And if anyone knows on the ground how they think, how they work and are hurting our community, it's somebody like AT. I mean, I watched AT grow up, and I think that government sometimes fears bringing in the AT Mitchells, the Erica Fords. They're the ones we need if we're going to stop this. And AT, you spoke Saturday at our National Action Network weekly rally, and you say, yeah, I've got the tattoos. Yeah, I've been incarcerated, and I'm the kind of guy that understands how to talk to these guys. Talk about that to to our viewers?
Well, you know, you have to be closest to the problem. Those that are closest to the problem are best to have a better understanding of the solutions. And so, you know, growing up in Brownsville, Brooklyn, like we did, Rev, you know, it was a rough and tough community. And so, unfortunately, you know, when you're growing up in that environment, you have to adapt. But at the end of the day, it makes you a person like we are today. You know, it makes us into the men and women that grow up in those communities, more successful individuals if they put their minds to it. And so that's what we are actually willing to do and continue to do in this role.
And they said to me all the time, Rev, you know, well, when I bring people who have really learned from their lives, the lives they live, they said, well, you know, look at their background. And I said, look at my background. I mean, who are we kidding here? People knew of my background. They knew of the troubles I had as a child. They knew that I was dyslexic. They knew that I was arrested as a young man. And they said, we want you to be the mayor of the city of New York because the life you live is a life people are living now. We should be happy that we have someone that transformed the arc of his life and now is a productive citizen saving the lives of others who went on the wrong path.
And A.T., you were a founder and executive director of Man Up, and I understand, especially given what you just said in the past few minutes, that you want to focus a lot on what's going on in the communities where some of the gun violence is happening. But what about other measures? Republicans said, you know, these assault weapons are needed to kill prairie dogs, and there's so many of them out there that you can't really solve the problem. Are there real, tangible solutions that you would like to put into play? I mean, what do you think of, for example, gun buybacks?
I think this is a time when we need all hands on deck and we need a holistic approach. I think anything that comes about that is going to take guns out of the hands of people who may use them illegally is a plus in our eyes. Excuse me. So yeah. So anything and everything that can help us to reduce the amount of gun violence that we are experiencing, I believe is a good thing.